feel better already. I've got bookie fever.
Welcome back, SpongeBob fans. Ready for a new dose of animation errors? If you are, don't leave this video because here are some funny moments and animation errors that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. Number 1, something smells. Seems like somebody had bad breath during this episode. In this adventure from the second season of the show, SpongeBob takes his cooking skills to a new level, deciding to create a new and yummy dish for everyone to try. Mixing a little onion, ketchup, and a little potted plant, SpongeBob created such a big atrocity that it gave him really bad breath. The consequences were really bad because nobody could even get close to SpongeBob after he ate that ice cream and caused many big troubles to our protagonist. Now that you've got a little glimpse of this adventure, we will recommend you watch it yourself so you can discover what awful things happened to SpongeBob due to ingesting that devilish ice cream. So let's see which funny moments and errors we found in this episode.
Hi, I'm very ugly, but you should enjoy the movie anyway.
We told you that having such bad breath would cause SpongeBob problems? Well, if you have very good eyes, you might have found one in this scene. Here, Patrick and SpongeBob were trying to enjoy a small and cool film in the cinema, but everything becomes dangerous when you have super toxic, stinky breath. When SpongeBob and Patrick take a seat in the front row of the cinema, we see that SpongeBob nearly melts the woman next to him after talking just a little bit. Even if this might have caught your sight, the animation error is not on the woman. When SpongeBob and Patrick arrive at their seats, the fish that are behind them have a blue and brownish color, but just a scene later, after SpongeBob melts the lady with his breath, they've completely changed. Now they're brown and orange. SpongeBob's breath is so bad that he even changed other fish's skin color.
Oh my gosh, if my sister finds out, oh wait, I don't have a sister. In the bank! Oh, I mean, it's one thing if you have bad shoes or even bad hair, but...
Poor Patrick, he's worried that he won't ever be able to talk with other people after having this bad breath. In this scene, we see that Patrick hides himself in the bathroom after discovering that his breath terrorizes many other people in Bikini Bottom, becoming ashamed of himself. Right after that, SpongeBob enters the room, and after Patrick doesn't hear him talking, he decides to scream at him to catch his attention. But what happens here? If you take a close look at SpongeBob when he's screaming at Patrick, you'll notice that many of his trademark pores disappear for a brief frame. The cool thing is that if you watch SpongeBob's reflection on the floor, his reflection still has pores on the skin. What a cool error to find. Number 2, wishing you well. Have you ever tried to throw money into a wishing well? Well, some people will think of this as a way to make their dreams come true and to gain hope, but with Mr. Krabs around, you know that money is the only thing that matters. In this funny episode from the 4th season of the show, Mr. Krabs sees a kid throwing money at a wishing well, and he becomes so angry at him for throwing money to the ground that he decides to build a completely new scheme. This led to the creation of the Eugene Krabs Memorial Wishing Well. Of course, later we'll discover that Mr. Krabs was stealing the money from the depths of the well and using this as bait for people to steal money from them. This, of course, sounds like another display of selfishness from Mr. Krabs, but we don't want to spoil anything, so let's watch some animation errors.
What did we do wrong? I know I believed hard enough. Maybe I just didn't dig deep enough. What do you say, Patrick? Are you ready to dig for some magic?
Yeah!
Here we are showing how people lose parts of their bodies once again. In this scene, we see that SpongeBob and Patrick reach the depths of the well and that SpongeBob is ready to dig an even bigger hole, searching for money and everyone's wishes. The curious thing is that when SpongeBob is talking to Patrick while holding a shovel, our protagonist's mouth disappears for a small frame. Poor SpongeBob, back to losing body parts.
I told you I am claustrophobic.
Nice try, Squidward, but there's no Santa Claus here.
First, SpongeBob loses his mouth, and now Squidward loses his clothes? After Squidward falls into the well, we see that he gets trapped with SpongeBob and Patrick. And if this wasn't a fearsome enough nightmare for our boy Squidward, in this scene, after Squidward falls and Patrick sits on top of him, we can see that his t-shirt disappears for a brief frame. What a cool episode. Number 3, Banned in Bikini Bottom. Call the police, somebody's smuggling Krabby Patties. I bet that nobody would have ever thought that at one point Krabby Patties would end up getting banned from Bikini Bottom. But, much like in many other SpongeBob episodes, things can get really crazy. After a group of old ladies led by Miss Gristlepuss entered the Krusty Krab, one of Mr. Krab's biggest fears became true because his restaurant got closed. Will this sad event affect SpongeBob's life as a Krusty Krab employee? Well, if you want to know more about this fantastic episode, give it a watch. But don't leave this video because here are some animation errors we want you to see.
Hello, and welcome one and all your money to ye old Krusty Krab.
Well, Mr. Krabs should be very afraid of seeing that group of old women because they might cause him real problems. Not only did they end up closing his restaurant, but in this scene, we see that something weird happens to Mr. Krabs. If you take a good look at Mr. Krabs, you'll notice that a key piece of his attire is missing. And of course, we're talking about his belt. This might be a very small error to notice, but we always like these ones.
How long has he been standing over there?
4 days.
It's no use.
The Krusty Krab isn't the only thing that Mr. Krabs lost in this episode. After getting his restaurant closed, we see that Mr. Krabs is talking to both SpongeBob and Squidward on the outside of his former fast food place. What is missing here? Well, in the part of the scene in which Mr. Krabs is shaking, we noticed that he missed his eyelashes for a brief second. SpongeBob's boss couldn't catch a break in this episode. Number 4, Slide Whistle Stooges. We know that Squidward is a really virtuous musician, but what about Patrick and SpongeBob? You might discover something about their musical talent in this episode. Much like in many other episodes, when SpongeBob and Patrick discover a new toy to play with, it brings a very big headache to Squidward. Funny thing is that in this episode, they decided to play with slide whistles, provoking Squidward to join them. Sounds funny, right? Then don't miss the episode and watch some goofy moments with us.
We're slide whistling.
Don't you mean playing the slide whistles?
Squidward, slide whistling is more than just simply tooting on an instrument.
SpongeBob loses his socks? This scene might cause some annoyance to all of you Squidward fans, but when Squidward discovers that SpongeBob and Patrick are playing with the slide whistles at the door of his house, he quickly jumps at them to stop all that noise. The funny thing is that if you look carefully at SpongeBob, when Squidward goes to talk to him, his shoes disappear for a brief frame. You can't even blink your eyes if you want to catch this error.
I gotta get out of here!
Look, Patrick, Squidward's finally playing along.
What was that? Did somebody's eye color change? If you have very fast reflexes and great sight, that's what you can find in this scene. In that exact frame in which Squidward is running away from his house, SpongeBob's right eye changes color from blue to white. This is super fast and very hard to notice, so if you were able to find this one, congratulations! You truly are a SpongeBob expert. Number 5, GRANDPAPPY the Pirate. Which one of you hasn't tried to impress a family member at least once? We wanted to focus a little more on Mr. Krabs in this video, so here's another episode with him as the main protagonist. In this episode, Mr. Krabs receives a very special visit because his grandfather is coming to see him, and he is a well-known pirate. To stand up to his grandpa's expectations, he decides to transform his beloved restaurant into a pirate ship, creating many stories about his past life sailing the 7 seas. But let's watch some animation errors for now.
The Krabs clan has been pirates for as long as we've had claws, and he wanted me to be a pirate too. One day you'll be a plundering pirate just like your old granddad here.
He might be too little in this scene, but isn't something missing again? Right at the start of the episode, we see a brief flashback of Mr. Krabs' childhood with his grandfather. SpongeBob's future boss is seen having a peaceful and funny time while his grandpa is fighting against many other bad pirates. But seeing Mr. Krabs as a baby isn't the strangest thing here, because if you look at him closely, he is missing his nose. He might be cute, but not having a nose is not a cute thing.
That's the stuff. Yeah. Good toss, eh, Granddad? Wah! Clear! Sounds like we got a prize.
What about SpongeBob being a pirate? Will he be a great one? Well, in this scene, we see all of Mr. Krabs' crew functioning as proper pirate crew, but that doesn't save them from being victims to some animation errors. When Mr. Krabs throws the harpoon to the sea monster, we see that SpongeBob jumps to catch it. The strange thing is that when SpongeBob jumps, he's wearing his usual casual clothes, but when the camera moves back to our protagonist, he has his pirate attire back. Seems like they can't stop being pirates even for a second. So, there you have it, SpongeBob fans. Those are some animation errors and funny moments that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel so we can surprise you with even more SpongeBob content. Until the next time, goodbye!